So on number 4 of the basic skills test, it's a basic addition problem. And I just want to show you a different way to think about solving a problem like this. Most students will attack this problem using the standard algorithm. 8 plus 5 is 13, carry the 1. 5 and 4 is 9, and 1 is 10. 0, carry the 1. 4 and 3 and 7 is 1 and 1 is 8, which would, of course, give you the correct answer if you follow that correctly. But I'm going to do this a different way and just give you an option for another way to think about problems like this. Because one of the reasons I sometimes don't like the standard algorithm with doing this way and carrying is that these little numbers up here on top sort of lose their meaning. And so I want to try to maintain the meaning of this problem as I do it. So in this case, I'm actually going to work left to right, and I'm going to write down. It's going to take me more steps of writing, but I think it might be more meaningful. So just bear with me on this and just try it this way. So 4 plus 3 is 7, but this is not 4. This is 400, and this is not 3. This is 300. So 400 plus 300 is actually 700. So I'm going to go ahead and write 700 down just to keep track of what's actually happening instead of sort of just using this other way. And then in this case, I have a 50 and a 40, or we think of it as 5 and 4, but it's really 50 and 40. So 50 plus 40 is 90. I'm going to go ahead and write that down right there. So 50 and 40 is 90. And then the 8 and 5 is actually 13. So we can go ahead and write that down. Again, this looks like it might be a longer way to do it, but I'm hoping that you understand that this way at least makes sense of the numbers. 3 and 4 is 7, but it's really 700. 4 and 5 is 9, but it's really 90, and 8 and 5 is the 13. So now I have 790 plus 13 more. So I'm going to actually do this one more step. So I have 700. Just going to bring that down. That stays the same. 9, 90, and 10 is another 100. And then the 3 more. And I, again, have 700 and 100 is 800. And that becomes a 0 and 3. And again, that looks like a lot more steps. And really, in many ways, I could have done these steps mentally. And I just wrote them all down just so that you could see how I was thinking about this problem. I was really thinking 790 and 13 more. So really in my head, I would have done this problem mentally as opposed to doing it this way, or even to write down all of these steps. So let me do this one more time. And I'm going to actually shortcut it just a little bit, what I actually did before, and show you how I would actually do this problem mentally to begin with. So I think initially of 300 and 400 is 700, and 40 and 50 is 90. So right now, in my head, I already have 790 plus 13 more. Now, if I couldn't remember all that, I could at least write down, I know that I have 790 so far, plus 13 more gives me 790 plus 10 is 803. And so I probably, if I couldn't have just done the whole thing mentally, would have done one more step to keep track of that 13. Really, ultimately, what I want to be able to do with a problem like this is to look at it just like I did, 348 plus 455, because this really is a mental math problem, and think of it as 790 plus 13 more is 803. And I would actually be just done with the problem just like that. So really, as a part of learning to do it this way is helping me to learn to get to this, to be able to just do this problem mentally without any of these steps, without carrying or any of these kinds of manipulations of the problem. I'm actually thinking about the reality of the numbers 300 and 400, 40 and 90, 8 and 5, and putting them together, kind of using all of these steps but really doing it mentally. And so this problem is intended to be a problem that you should be able to do mentally as opposed to using any of these particular systems. You should be able to get to this with just looking at the numbers. So that's why that problem is in the basic skills test. It's really a mental math problem.